Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, billionaires. Welcome to this channel, and thank you guys for subscribing and being very loyal to me. Your girl is so grateful. Thank you. I hope that this channel is that channel that you look forward to getting videos from. I mean, let it be that your 15 minutes of chill time, relax time of hearing Doni speak. Okay. So let's get into it. In today's video, I'll be talking about how I moved from Nigeria to Canada. Many people do know that I have moved from Nigeria to Canada and then from Canada to the United States. And one question I get asked often is, why did you move? How did you move? So, backstory. When I was in pharmacy school, I started thinking, what next after pharmacy school. Of course, after pharmacy school, you do a compulsory 1-year internship program and then 1 year of NYSC before getting into the real world. But then I mean, for my non-Nigerian listeners, NYSC is a compulsory thing that all Nigerian graduates have to do. It's called the National Youth Service Corps, where you really just serve the country. You will also be working professionally at the time. Many times you're working, but the government does take a large responsibility in paying you a stipend. So when I was in undergrad, like I said, I was thinking of, what will I do after NYSC? And then I was like, I definitely want to do my master's. If you know anything about me, my family, my father, that man likes books. Hey, that man loves knowledgeable people. And I think till now I'm still like that. So I really just wanted to do a master's program. But then the question was, which master's program? Then I started searching. So one thing about me is I quickly realized my strength. And I knew that I didn't want to do research from the get-go. I knew I did not want to do a research program. I was not going to be that pharmacist that would do, the pharmacological research or pharmaceutical chemistry research. No, that was not the life I was made for. No way. So I knew that I wanted a professional degree. I knew at the time that I had this knack for business. It's so wild because at the time I was in undergrad and I had this small business in school. Well, let's not talk about that. Yeah, so I was like, how do I do this? I started checking, then voila, I came across the Johns Hopkins MPH MBA dual degree program. So I was like, I'm going to do that. That was the plan. Then guess what? 500 level came and I lost my father. So I was like, how am I going to sponsor myself through school? Of course, so many other things I don't want to talk about, but I just knew that the honors would fall on me, largely taking care of myself through grad school. And I was like, what will I do? So my uncle came, who is also a pharmacist, by the way, and said, one thing I know for sure is that domestic students do pay way lesser than international students. How about you go to Canada as a permanent resident? I was like, oh, really? He was like, yes. Canada has this program that they are doing. And then if you do apply and, get all the requirements in, you will be invited to apply for permanent residency. And once you get it, you land as a permanent resident, you definitely be able to enjoy the benefits of a domestic student. So I was like, that sounds interesting. But yeah, at the time, I then tried to Google the MPH MBA program in Canada, and I wasn't really getting a lot of information on that. I couldn't find anybody or any school doing that as a dual degree program. So I was like, okay, I might as well just go to Canada and do a PharmD program. When I land, I would then apply for my PharmD program. This was way back 2017 that this conversation happened. It's been 8 years. How time flies. So yes, then I started. So the first thing I did, he sent me the CRS Calculator. He said his friends were doing it and was like, I think this would be helpful. Go ahead and calculate your score. I would attach that, a picture of it, and then maybe a link as well. I did go on to the Canada.ca website, found the CRS Calculator, and then answered a few questions. So it's about 10 questions on there. It's really going to focus on your professional background, educational background, and your, of course, test of English was something that was also a requirement. And I think it's still a requirement till now. Yes. So it did ask me all of those questions. I answered to the best of my knowledge at the time. I also knew the kind of things they were looking out for. So I think to be able to rank high on those things, you have to have at least 3 years of work experience. Then there's some specific target scores you want to get in your test of English. And then educational wise, I knew that I did pharmacy. So Canada views pharmacy, medicine, of course, as a professional degree. So these are professional degrees, right? So you will get the points of somebody that's done a master's. I think that's something that many people did not know. Over the years, I've watched pharmacists, doctors go ahead and fill first degree as their degree. No, you are a professional, so you have to pick professional degree / master's. That's the point that you get. So of course, I did all of that, and then I compared my score to what was obtainable at the time. So a brief description of what the express entry system is. So the express entry system is that methodology or the system that the Canadian immigration system uses to invite highly skilled people to come into Canada. So like I said, it really focuses on 3 areas: your educational background, professional background, test of English. Of course, there's so many other things that you would submit, but then those are the key things that you need to really focus on when you're getting started to even know that you qualify to apply. So from that, depending on what each person gets, there's a way that the scoring system works. They have a score that they use. At the time, I think they used to do the poll. They used to pick people from the poll and do a draw every, I can't remember if it was every week now. Was it every week? Or it was every week. It was definitely not every month. Yes, it was every week. Yes, so every week they would do a draw. So at the time, I compared what I got to what was being used. I think then they were still using 430 range, 420, 430 range. And I think I was on like maybe 424 thereabout. Because I really used some of the very minimum scores, like just not to overhype myself, right? I really wanted to be realistic and put some things there. So I was like, okay, I think I would qualify for this. I was rounding up NYC at the time. After that, I was like, okay, I needed to get 1 year in, but don't wait till you have your 3 years of work experience before applying. So you want, oh no, sorry, before putting yourself together and putting your documents together. So for the first part, you would need to evaluate. I mean, as a pharmacist, everyone has to evaluate their documents, right? But as a pharmacist, I needed to use the professional body. So I did use the Pharmacist Evaluation Board of Canada, PEBC, to evaluate my documents. So it was going to take the PEBC, I think the website says about 2 months to evaluate, but you also have to consider how long time it will take your school, because you have to send your transcript. As a pharmacist, you have to get to the Pharmacist Council of Nigeria, you have to pay all your dues, and you have to pay for the recommendation letter. It's called letter of good standing. You have to get all of that and attach to your application. So you have to factor in how long those things will take. We all understand the Nigerian factor, right? All of that you have to do. Then after submitting to PEBC, it also takes them about, I think eventually mine was about 6 weeks, but I think averagely, I think the website says 2 or 3 months. I can look that up and also attach in this video. So you would have to put that up, and then when you do that, before you submit your document, you would, of course, when you get to the website, it will tell you to obtain an ID. You have to obtain an APRA ID, you pay a fee, and then afterwards you then apply for this evaluation, send in your documents to them. You have to get the documents notarized. Yes, you have to go to a notary public. I used a lawyer in Nigeria at the time that did it. I think if you're in this part of the world, if you're in North America, please correct me if I'm wrong. I knew somebody had told me that you can actually go to your bank and they can notarize your documents for you for free. So yes, so I did that, submitted all of that information. Afterwards, I then, of course, while I was doing that, I was also taking the test of English. So the test of English can be quite dicey. I don't know many people that wrote it once. A couple of people said they did, but they are very few. You know what happens with that test is that there are 4 different aspects to it. So it has the reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Now, for you to max out and get the highest scores allocated to test of English, so English proficiency, you have to get at the time, I don't know about now, you had to get at least 8. So each of those is over 9. You have to get 8 over 9 in listening. Then I think the rest of them you have to get like 7.5 at least. So the rest of them you could get 7.5. But you know the way it works, sometimes you could get like 8 in listening. You could even get 8 in every other thing, and then maybe one of them you get 6.5. You would think that, oh, since I got 8 in the other ones, it should augment. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Your score will be very low. So you must pass all 4 of them at the required scores. They won't tell you, it's not on the website that these are the scores you must get, but you will just realize that, oh, why am I not getting the maximum score? Yes, you will not. So you must get all of those scores in one sitting, and you can't combine test results. So that's that about test results. And then we've talked about the educational one, and then the professional aspect of it. You would see when you're filling the CRS calculator that the highest, I think the highest was 3 years or more of work experience. So you are better off having at least 3 years of more work experience. Now, I think another thing that was happening at the time was, I think now they've kind of changed it, but at the time, that work experience was also sort of align with your degree. So if you are entering the pool as a pharmacist, claiming points for professional degree as a pharmacist, you have to look at the job descriptions that pharmacists have, you know, that Canada has put up for pharmacists. Right? You cannot be a pharmacist and you said you're working as an engineer somewhere, or I'm just trying to give you like maybe a realistic expectation of what happens, right? When I was applying, most of the pharmaceutical roles because of pharmacist rules there were more clinical aligned. I think I heard that they've changed it now. They now understand that pharmacists are in pharma and they are doing a lot of things in sales and marketing, in R&D, but most of them were very clinical based. So you have to have like all this hospital or retail pharmacy experience. Those were the things there at the time. So at the time you had to align. You cannot say you're claiming points as a pharmacist and then you were working in a role that was not really stated on the website. That was a role that was not part of the things they stated on their website as the role of a pharmacist. Do you get? So yeah, so you need to do that. And then that's the professional part. And then you must be able to prove and provide additional documents, say appointment letters, pay slips. Yes, pay slip was very, very important. And then recommendation letters. Yes. So most of these organizations should be willing to provide you a recommendation letter or something that says, a letter that says, yes, this person worked with us, she was a staff, and all of that. Yes, those are the things that you would upload. So after you gather all of your documents, or after I gathered all of my documents, I went ahead to create my profile. Is a CRS profile. It's a profile for the express entry that you have to create. Once you create that profile, it will ask you all of these questions. You upload all of this information. I don't even think you need to upload this much details at the time. Once you create the profile, you ask a few questions like the CRS calculator, right? And then you have a score point, right? You have a score, and then that point is what would be used. So when next they are doing a draw, if your score is up to, the required score that they're looking for during that particular draw, say that time they are using 440 and you had 445, you will be invited. Although after some time they also started using a tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker was usually like a timestamp. So they would say something like, yes, we are using 440, I'm giving an instance, and then you got 445, but 440 for people that had entered the pool by, say, this is May, say April 2025. So if you just created your own profile last week and you got up to 440, you will not get invited. So they started using a tiebreaker. Doesn't mean you will not get invited the next time. It just depends on the tiebreaker, the time stamp that they are using. So yeah, that's something to also take note of. So yes, I did enter the pool, and then yes, that was it. After I submitted my profile, and then they did a draw. By the time I was finally going to get selected, at the time it was already like 2020, and the CRS scores had jumped up. I remember very clearly, I think I was on 478 and they used 472 or 473. Can you imagine when I started this process, the scores were usually 420, 430, but then it jumped up considerably higher. So it was around 470, in the range of even the 470s are low now, because now after some time they got to as high as 500 points. Yes. So, and then yes, I got invited to apply, and then I think it's called invitation to apply. When then you apply, I submitted my documents like in October. So I think yes, I got invited to apply in August, and then I submitted. I think you're giving like 30 to 60 days to complete that submission. So I think I submitted sometimes in October, and then I got my COPR in January 2021. Yeah, that was my first COPR. I said first for a reason. You will get it. So yes, I got my COPR January 2021. I was excited. Let's go to Canada. Finally, my dreams are going to get actualized. I'm going to get my degree. And then the second wave of COVID happened, and Canada was like, all up, you can't come in yet. Then they started restricting flights entering the country, and they were like, everybody should chill. They sent an email to say, we will not forget you, we will let you know when it is safe for you to come in. Now, your COPR is your confirmation of permanent residency. After it is issued, you have to land within 6 months after it has been issued. Otherwise, it expires, right? Now, I was like, okay, don't worry, I'm very sure this will clear up in 2 or 3 months. Oh my God, it did not clear up. It didn't clear up. People suggested that, why don't you go and fly in through Ghana, Cameroon, a couple of all of those things. But the thing was, it was also an expensive process. I don't know how people did that, because then people that went during that period, you didn't have to quarantine for like 7 days or something. You have to stay in a hotel. Girl, I was just like, you know what, I'm not having it. I'm just going to chill. I don't know where I got the confidence from, but you know how God works, right? So I chilled. Did it expire? Yes, it did expire. You know what's funny? My COPR expired July 16. Was it July or June 16 or 18? I think it's July, because 6 months from January should have been July 16 or 18. And then I think literally 2 days after, that was when they said people can start coming in. I was like, oh my God. So I waited behind, and then I was expecting them, they will call us to, guys, this next steps for you guys to take since your COPR expired. They never did. Now that brings me to the power of community. So I noticed that what was happening at the time was many people, we found a way to connect with each other, people that all submitted, or was it the date of submission that was used, or the date you were invited for invitation to apply? You got your invitation to apply. But on a monthly basis, people had this WhatsApp group chat. It could be like October ITA people or something like that. So all of us were on that WhatsApp group, and then I noticed that people were just like, oh, my COPR expired, but I went ahead to do another medical test. Yes, I skipped that part. As part of the things you would be asked to submit after you have been invited to apply is a medical test. You would be asked to do a medical test, and your medical test it's not even after. I think you can even do your medical test before. Yeah, because your medical test is valid for 1 year, and I know that I had done mine way ahead of time. Yes, I did mine in March 2020. Oh yes, and then there was no draw for a period of time during COVID before they resumed again. So I did my own in March. I think I went in the poll in August and all of that. Anyway, there wasn't any draw for a period of time. So yes, and then because of that, it was going to expire in March. So your COPR expires either, whichever one comes first, either the date that your medical test expires. So I did my own March 2020. I got my COPR January 2021. It would have actually expired March 2021, or 6 months after it was issued, whichever one comes first. Between the 6 months thing I explained previously and 1 year after your medical test expires, right? After your medical test was done. So for me, I just heard people saying, oh, my COPR expired, but what I did was I was proactive enough to go do another medical test. They are going to ask for it anyways. And then guess what? I got another COPR issue. I was like, oh, wow. So by like August, I didn't hear anything from them. I scheduled another medical test. They have like designated test centers, hospitals that they used in Lagos. I don't know what it is like if you're in this part of the world. I'm sure they would have as well. So I did that. I sent it to them like September. Yes, I think I sent it to them September. No. October actually, because it barely took a month. And in November, I was issued another COPR. Guess who did not wait? I did not wait an extra second. The only thing that delayed me was that I had to send my passport, and my passport didn't come back early enough. Other than that, by January, I was out of the country this time. I wasn't taking any chances. No way. So January 2022, I finally landed in Canada. So let's talk about timeline now. How long did it take me? So the timeline is different for everyone, and I think everyone's journeys are different. Like, you do not want to compare yourself to another person. For me, it took roughly, I got my first COPR January 2021. I think I started like late 2018? Yeah, I think I started late 2018 actually. Yes, I was not with NYSC. Yes, so late 2018 was when I started the process. So it took 2019, 2020 there was COVID. Yes, that could have a kind of, so largely it took about 2 years. Some people's own theirs took about a year and a half. I know people that took 3-4 years. So everyone's timeline is different. Even to get the COPR after applying, some people don't take a year. So I know that everyone's journey is different. So you really want to put that at the back of your mind before you put yourself on any unnecessary pressure. So timelines can vary from person A to person B. That was my own timeline. I don't know what it would be like for you or somebody else. So you really want to be sure of that. And then I think that's basically it. That's it, girl. That's how your girl moved from Nigeria to Canada. If you have any questions, please ask me. If you're still considering going through that path, please, do your own research. I know that there are so many other pathways that Canada has opened up now. There's the one that focuses on language. So if you're French speaking, if you can speak French very well, please go ahead and jump into the poll. There are also some professions that are being targeted. So you want to do all of those research. I could try and find some of them for you. And if that's something you're still interested in, I think that you should definitely take, that big step towards that. Canada is definitely amazing. It's a place that I love to call home. I was in Canada 2 days ago. I just got back from Canada, and when the immigration officer said, "Welcome home," oh my God, it really felt like home. It's such a peaceful place to be. I know that we all have our different opinions about Canada, the US, and all of that, but I love Canada and I love everything that it does stand for. So yeah, in my next video, we'll talk about Canada to the US. So you ever to be like, when she's saying all of this, why did she move? Why don't you wait to find out? So yeah, thank you so much guys for coming. Please don't forget to subscribe. Let's get these billions together. Bye guys. See you later. Bye.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24-26.